This is Greg Isenberg, one of the smartest community and product strategists on the internet and a leading voice in AI. His Twitter posts consistently go viral, racking up tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of impressions. And behind all of that success is a repeatable content system. Today, I'm testing whether two of the best new AI tools, Google Gemini 3 Pro and Nano Banana Pro, can clone that system from scratch. But here's the crazy part. This system works on any Twitter post, not just Greg's. So in this video, I'll show you how to clone what's already viral, remix it into your unique style, and generate images that feel on brand for you, all using AI. So let's dive into it. If you want to get access to the workflow we build today and make money fast with AI automations, just check the link in the description. If you want to learn how to build the system yourself, just keep watching. So here we are inside of N8N, and let me show you how the system works at a high level, and then we're going to go through and build it step by step. At a high level, all we're going to do is submit the URL for any Twitter post. We're going to extract the text from that post and the image from it. We're going to use Gemini 3 Pro to remix that post in our tone of voice. We're also going to use Gemini 3 Pro to analyze the image for us, and then we're going to send this over to Nano Banana Pro to generate a brand new image using our own brand guidelines. And then from there, we're going to merge these two things together, and we're going to use a platform called Blotato to automatically post this to our Twitter account. This is Greg's Twitter account, and you can see he has over 500,000 followers, and he racks up a ton of impressions. This is a post I found by his that I thought would be great for us to test because honestly, it is super, super long. Like you can see this has like 30 something points to it, and it has this really great image of this like ridiculously long iPhone that I thought would be really funny for us to try to recreate in our own style. And so the first thing we need to do is we just need to get this URL into our system somehow. So what we need to do is come back over into N8N, and we need to create a form submission. So I'm just going to hit the tab on the keyboard, and we can go ahead and create N8N form, and we can go ahead and create this trigger on new N8N form event. And we can just go ahead and call this Twitter Parasite because that's exactly what it is. And all we need to do down here is just add a form element. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this URL. And we actually don't need to change anything else. What's really cool about N8N is you can actually have two workflows operating at the same time. So this is the new workflow we're working with. And all we will need to do now is we're just going to copy this URL from Greg's post. And if we go ahead and click play on here, you can see we have our form popped up. We can go ahead and we can submit our URL. You can see form response submitted. And if we come back in here, we have a green check mark and we have a single item. If we open up our form, you can actually see we have the URL all ready to go. So I can just select this and hit P on the keyboard to pin this data, which means we no longer have to submit a URL every time we want to run this. Now, if we go ahead and check this, what we're doing is we are making an HTTP request to a site called RapidAPI. RapidAPI is awesome. It has a whole bunch of scrapers. You can scrape Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever. It has it. So let me show you how to set this up. So if we come over to RapidAPI, this is RapidAPI here. You can go ahead, create an account. You know how to create an account by now with your name and email. And if we just type in Twitter or X, what I'm using is this first one, the Twitter API with no I in here, whatever. And it's this one right here. And once you open this up, you'll see all of these endpoints on the side. And all we need to do is we need to scroll down to the posts endpoint. And what we want to do is get tweet details. I use version 2. I assumed it was better than version 1. This seems to work for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And this right here is called a curl request. And this basically allows us to bring this into N8N super, super easily. You can see here we're sending a couple of our parameters like our API key. And all we're doing here is sending the post ID. That's really it. So if we take this curl request, again, just go ahead and copy this here. One thing to note is that you'll just need to subscribe to this scraper up here. There'll be a button up here that says subscribe. Right now, mine says test endpoint because I'm already subscribed, but just go ahead and click subscribe up here. It's free to use. If we go to the overview over here, we can actually see that if we go into the plans, you can actually see that it's $0 per month and you actually get 500 requests per month, which is actually really, really great. So we can just come back in here. And let me go ahead and come back to our new flow here. We can click the plus and type in HTTP request and go ahead and click import curl. And we can just go ahead and click import. Super great. There are a couple of things to note. One thing is I want to show you how to set up a more permanent connection to RapidAPI and a more secure way so we're not exposing your API key. I'm going to have to change mine after this video, but that's okay. So right here, this is our API key. And take note of this field here, name, with its x-RapidAPI-key, and then the value. So what we're going to do to set this up more permanently is I'm just going to copy our API key. And if we come up to the top here, we can go into authentication, generic credential type. We can come into header auth. We can go ahead here and we can click create new credential. And we can just go ahead and call this RapidAPI and the date, which is November 20. And remember, we need to type x-RapidAPI-key because that's the format that it's expecting. You can just go ahead here and you can paste in your value and go ahead and click save. And now you are all connected to RapidAPI, and you can use this over and over again rather than needing to come back to it. And I can just go ahead and delete this. And it's a lot more secure when I share this workflow for you guys. My API key is no longer exposed. The other thing here is we need this value, and you can see that this is the value coming at the end of the tweet, right? So this is basically the tweet ID. We just need to make sure we can extract this. And so what we want to do is we actually want to switch this field to expression. I'm going to delete this. And if we drag this in here, this is a great start, but you can see it's bringing in the whole URL. What I like to do, this is a good teaching moment, is you can always take a screenshot of this and you can come into ChatGPT and you can paste this in and you can just say, I need an N8N expression to extract only the tweet ID, which is the long string of numbers at the end of the URL. So you can go ahead and do this, and ChatGPT will understand what we're trying to do. You can see here, and so we're just splitting this at the slash here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And if we come back in here and paste this in, you can see now that our result is only this string of numbers at the end, which is exactly what we want. This is great. This is really all we need. So we can just go ahead and click execute step from here. You can see RapidAPI is getting to work, and literally in just a couple of seconds, we have returned all of this data. Super, super powerful. If we scroll down here, we can get some information like about Greg. You can see this is the description of his profile, which is really, really cool. And we can scroll down even further and just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And eventually you're just going to get to this field that says text. And you can see that this is the text of the actual post. This is what's keeping me up at night. AI will kill the concept of a 9 to 5 for millions, et cetera, et cetera. If we come back into Greg's post here, you can see this is what's keeping me up at night. AI will kill the concept of a 9 to 5 for millions. So great. We have access to the actual text that we want to remix. And so the other thing we want to make sure that we have is we want to make sure we have access to the image. So if we come down here, we can actually see we have this expanded URL, which is the image of the photo. So I can copy and paste this, and this will open up, but this is just going to open up the tweet. What we really need is if we come down here, we want this media URL, right? This is a publicly available URL to where the actual image is stored on the Twitter server. So this is what's going to allow us to have access to this image, because we're going to tell Nano Banana, hey, we want to remix this image in our own style. So now that you understand where the fields are, we can basically send this information off. If we come up here, we can see we're remixing the text using Gemini 3 Pro, and we're analyzing the image also using Gemini 3 Pro. So let's go ahead and create those two routes. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the plus here. And if we type in Gemini, we can go to Google Gemini. What we can do is we can scroll down here and we can do message a model. And now, if you have the latest version of N8N, you can come into the model list and you can just scroll down to Gemini 3 Pre. You can scroll down to Gemini 3 Pre. You can scroll down to Gemini 3 Pro Preview. Great. And this is what we want to do. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy the prompt that I used earlier. We can go in and we can see that we basically have two different messages. We have a user message here and we have a model message or a system message. And the original message, I'm literally just putting in that post text. I'll show you how to do this. And then here is really like where the magic happens, right? You can see you are an AI writing agent specialized in rewriting Twitter posts in the exact tone, strategy, and voice of the Build Room brand. So that's my school community. That's my AI agency. Everything is under the Build Room. So I'm also going to show you how you can easily use ChatGPT to create your own tone of voice guidelines. And then we just gave it a few steps to follow. So step 1 is analyze the original post to extract the following, like the content, the themes, the purpose, the value. Step 2 is to evaluate any context gaps. So just make sure that, do we need any deeper context or any deeper research, right? Because we want to make sure this post is relevant to us. And then if yes, which is almost always, we proceed to step 3. If no, we can just continue, right? So step 3 3 is actually we're telling it to perform internet research. So if we're missing some information, Gemini is actually going to go out and research the internet to find more relevant and current information for us, which is super, super helpful. And then step 4 is to rewrite the post in the build room tone of voice. You must now create a completely new Twitter post that A, mirrors the formatting pattern and hook of the original post, matches the structure of it, maintains the same emotional rhythm, and then uses the tone of voice guidelines. And then here we've gone in to bring in tone of guidelines that are relevant to me, right? And so this is a really big list of things that I wanted to do or not do. And that's really all you need. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to copy this prompt, and I'm going to go ahead and come into Gemini 3 down here. We can go ahead and add a message, and this is going to be a model message, and we can just paste this in. And then here, for the user message, we can do what I had before, and we can say original post, and then we can scroll down to wherever that big block of text is. If we come in here, we have this text field, and we just bring this in here, and you can see if we open this up, we actually have Greg's entire post all ready for us to go and to be analyzed. So that's step 1. So really quick, let me just show you how I made these tone of voice guidelines. It was actually really easy. So I just came into ChatGPT, and this obviously works best if you've been using ChatGPT before. I just said, based on everything you know about me, if you have already built a custom GPT that has like a knowledge base with things you like to talk about, go into that first before writing this prompt, right? You can say, based on everything you know about me, and you could even say like, and what's in your knowledge base? Right? Like if you already have that. And so like I can come into my custom GPT here. So based on everything you know about me and what's in your knowledge base, create a brief and succinct tone, can't type anymore, tone of voice guidelines. So an AI agent can write like me. So I just went and sent something off like that. And then we went in here and it basically just like pulled in some tone of voice guidelines for me, right? Like core personality, strategic, direct, relatable, no fluff, right? Here's how I talk with conversion mode and vibe mode, right? Sometimes I'm trying to do more for sales. Sometimes I'm trying to be vibey and relatable and like a normal human. So this is really great. And then if you want to take this, you can always go ahead and like take what's here. I like to use dictation mode for something like this. And you can say like, I need to turn these tone of voice guidelines into a prompt for an AI agent. The agent needs to process an incoming Twitter post and remix that post using my personal tone of voice. You can say something really simple like that, send this off, send this to the system. And now this is actually going to create the agent prompt for us, which is the thing I was just showing you inside of N8N, right? You're the tone remix agent. Your job is to take an incoming Twitter or X post and rewrite it so it sounds exactly like me, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's essentially what we have down here in our model prompt. So this is pretty much all ready to go. And I'll just pin this data again so we don't have to use it. And if I go ahead and I click execute step, this is going to run and process this for us. Really quick, if you've never connected Gemini to N8N before, let me just show you. If you come over to aistudio.google.com, and typically you'll be in this dashboard over here, but you can come down to get API key. All you have to do is click create API key, name your key, and then you just go ahead and you would click copy API key, and then come over into N8N, go into create new credential, and then paste in your API key here, and you are all set up and ready to go. Super, super easy. This does take a little bit of time to run, primarily because it's processing a lot of information from Greg, and it's also going to search the internet for us. So if I go ahead and I open this up now, you can see this is what keeps me up at night. The traditional agency model is collapsing. You no longer need 50 employees to scale. You need 5 well-constructed agentic workflows. So now this is taking like the structure and themes and style of Greg's post, but actually writing about stuff that I like to talk about. Super powerful. So we basically have this all ready to go. I'm going to hit P on the keyboard. And if we come up here, you can see the next thing is for us to analyze an image. I did a very similar thing with ChatGPT to write the prompt for this. I'm not going to go over how to do that again. You already generally get the idea. But if we come in here, I basically just told it like, now I need to write a prompt for an AI image analyzer to analyze that image and remix that image in my personal brand styles, right? This is the prompt that it gave me. You're an AI image analysis agent. Your job is to analyze the incoming image thoroughly and accurately, identify all visible elements, composition, mood, style, actions, any text, etc. And then it basically just went ahead and told it like my brand guidelines that I like to use right now, which is simple, clean, and sharp, futuristic but minimal, cyberpunk inspired in an illustrated style, not chaotic, not dense, like very clean, and then some information about the color palette that I like to use. So again, this is up to you. You can work with ChatGPT to create your personal brand guidelines for you and use it in an image analysis just like this. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to split this off. Just come down here, and if we go ahead and type Gemini, we can go to Google Gemini again. And now what we can do is we can analyze an image. Awesome. And all we need to do here is find that image URL that I was talking about earlier. So again, we scroll down. It's going to be somewhere in here. You can see here we have this media URL. And again, this is the publicly available URL. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this in here. And the other thing is I'm just going to copy the existing prompt that I had because it was working really well for me. So I'm just going to copy that. Again, you can create your own. Come in here, paste this in. From the model list, we're going to use Gemini 3 Pro again because it is the newest model. It is working incredibly well. It is really good at this type of task. So in just a couple of seconds, this finished. And let me just go back to Greg's post just to remind us of what we have, this ridiculous iPhone, right? So if I come in here, you can see a high angle POV, minimalist cyberpunk illustration featuring sleek white robotic hands gripping an absurdly elongated vertical communication device, etc. So now it took the concepts from that image and made it relevant to my brand. Really cool. So I can hit P on the keyboard to pin that again. And now all we need to do is generate a brand new image based off of the existing image and the image prompt. To do this, we're using a service called Kai AI. Kai is a great place to go for all the latest AI image and AI video generator models. You can see right now the price of Nano Banana Pro is a little bit expensive. It's about 12 cents per image, but the quality is insane. Some of the things that we want to mimic just to pay attention to, what kind of like access in the API we have the prompt, of course. We can actually give it a reference image, which we're going to do. We can choose the aspect ratio, so you can go ahead and select any one of these. You can choose the output resolution and then the output format. If we come into the API documents, you can see here we have some of those parameters. And if we come down here, you can see this should look familiar to you. This is another curl request, just like we use with RapidAPI. And so to set this up, you can go ahead and copy this here. Come back over into N8N, click the plus, type in HTTP again, and go ahead and click import curl and import this in. And basically, I already set up my API key. You generally know how to do this now that I did it before. Again, remember, we're going to go to generic credential type. We're going to go to header auth, and you would go ahead and click create new credential and paste in your Kai AI key there. So for here, I already have one here. This one will work fine. And I can go ahead and switch off the headers because we're no longer sending them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch this to expression. The model is Nano Banana Pro. I know we don't need a callback URL. And the input for the prompt, we can just go ahead and delete this. And what we want to do is we just want to bring in this text that we use Gemini 3 Pro to generate. Our aspect ratio is 1:1. That's fine. Our resolution is 1K. That's fine. The only thing that we're missing is that reference image. So if we come up here, you can see we have this place for an image URL. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And if we come back in here, after prompt, we can go ahead and hit enter. I'll just tab over so it's consistent. I'll hit the quote. I'll paste this in, colon. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add another set of quotes. And we can come back to this original request node. Let me just expand this so we can see it a little better. And we're going to find that media URL again. I'm just going to bring this in because this is the publicly available URL. I'm going to close off these quotes here. And I'm just going to add a comma so we don't break the JSON formatting. And you can see this is the request that we're actually sending to Kai AI on the right. It includes our prompt, includes the aspect ratio, and of course, our reference image. So if I click execute step, you can see we sent this off and we have a success message. So we know that Kai has actually received it. If you want, you can come back into Kai. You can go to your dashboard, come in here, go to the logs, and you can see that we now have this running. And this is the prompt that we just sent off. And this is all good to go. So we know the system is actually working. There's a little trick that I'm going to copy from here. Basically, all you do is click the plus and you're going to wait. It takes a little bit of time for the image to finish generating. So you just want to wait to see if it's done before checking. So I'll just set this to 30 seconds or something like this. And if we come back into the Kai documentation, I'll just come back into this Nano Banana Pro documentation. What we need is to query this task. If we go ahead and click copy, this is just another request to actually get the task once it's finished. We know this trick now. We can go to HTTP request. We can import our curl. We no longer need to send these headers. Remember, we've already set this up. You can come in here. We can go to authentication, header auth, go back and select our Kai AI key. And the only thing we need here is this task ID. So let's pin this data. Let's come back in here. Let's go ahead and click execute previous nodes. This is going to wait for 30 seconds and then we'll really easily be able to grab the task ID. Cool. So this finished and you can see we got an error because we didn't bring in our actual task ID, but we were just doing that so we have access to it. So I'm just going to delete this value here. I'm going to go to expression and I'm just going to grab the task ID from the wait node. And now when I go ahead and I click execute step, you can see we actually brought this in. We have a message that says success. The state is success, which is actually what we're looking for. This first one is basically just saying like, did this node function properly? And then the state is basically, has this image finished generating? If it hasn't, it'll just say generating. If it's successful and finished, it'll say success. Awesome. So what we do now is we just add an if node. And the reason we do this is because we want to do this. We want to drag in the state and we want to make sure the state is equal to success. The reason we do this is if it's equal to success, then we can do something with it because our image is ready. If it's not, it'll just go to the false branch and we can route this back to the wait node. We can wait for another 30 seconds and then we can check again. So if we come up here, the last thing to do is really merge our completed text and our completed image together and then publish this automatically to our own Twitter account. If we come in here, we can scroll down. We can actually go to this results URL just to check the image. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and open this up. That image automatically downloaded, but if I open up the image, you can see that this mimicked the reference image that we gave it, but it generated it in our personal brand style. So this is great. The next thing we need to do is we're just going to take this. We're going to type in merge to use the merge node. We'll switch this to combine. We'll combine this by position and we'll just attach both these branches together. We can go ahead and click play on this. And so now we're basically going to get the text that was generated with Gemini 3 Pro and the image that was generated using Nano Banana Pro. We're going to bring those together and we're going to publish it automatically to our Twitter account. So all we need to do now is connect up to Blotato. I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to go to Blotato. And the reason I like using Blotato, it's just easier to publish images to Twitter and media in general than actually using the Twitter node, which is crazy, but that's the deal. So I'm just going to click create post. We can go ahead here. You can connect to all of your social media platforms, which is really powerful. Like if you wanted, you could send this image and text to Twitter, to Instagram, to Pinterest, to Threads, like literally anywhere. It's really great. So I'm just going to select Twitter. I'll go ahead and select my account. For the text, we're going to bring in the text. And then for the media URL, we're going to use this URL down here. And we can just do the same trick that we did before. I can just go ahead and I can copy this. And we can come back into ChatGPT and I can say, I need an N8N expression to extract only the URL, right? And so now we're not getting all that stuff that says results URL, we're just getting the actual URL. So if I come in here, you can see here's the final expression. I can just go ahead and copy this. I can paste this expression back in, and now we're gonna have access to everything. Let me show you how to set up Blotato. This is Blotato. You can go ahead and create your account. I'll leave a link in the description. And it's really cool. If you come into your settings, you can log in with all of your social media profiles. It's incredibly easy to use. Really, all you need after that is access to your API key. You just go ahead and click copy API key, come into N8N into the Blotato node and do what we've been doing. Go up here, go to create new credential, paste in your API key, and you are all connected to all of your social media accounts. It's incredibly fast, powerful, and easy to use. So now that's all that's left to do is you really don't need to change any of these other settings. All you have to do is go ahead and click execute step. You can see here, this was executed successfully. If I come back over to Twitter, you can see that we just posted this incredibly long tweet along with our image. Really cool. And so the last thing for us to do is really just test this end to end to make sure everything is working. So if we go ahead and select all this, we can hit P to unpin that data. And we can just go ahead and we can try to find another viral tweet. And this doesn't have to be from Greg. And so why don't we go to someone like the boring marketer who's kind of related and in my field. And let's just go ahead and see if we can find another tweet from him. One that features an image is of course ideal. So this one is really interesting with this whiteboard. So I'm just going to go ahead and come in here and let's see what Gemini 3 Pro and Nano Banana do with this one. So I'm going to go ahead, come back into N8N. We can go ahead and click execute workflow. Our form is going to come up. I'm going to go ahead and click paste. So we've gone ahead and submitted this. We've already scanned this tweet using RapidAPI. We're going to send this over to Gemini 3 Pro to analyze the text and remix it in our own tone of voice, search the internet if necessary. Gemini 3 Pro is then analyzing the image and creating a prompt for an AI image generator in our unique brand style. We're going to send this over to Nano Banana Pro to generate that new image for us. We're then going to merge the text and the new image together, send this over to Blotato to publish to our Twitter account automatically. So now, anytime you come across a viral tweet and you want to remix it in your tone of voice, you can just come in here and copy and paste the URL inside of this form. So this finished. This took about a minute and a half. Let's come over to my Twitter account, if I go ahead and refresh this, we can come in. We can see that 19 seconds ago, we posted a new post. I wrote these 7 rules of AI automation on my whiteboard, so I never build without a buyer. Then it went ahead and wrote this in my tone of voice for my audience and even recreated like a cyberpunk illustration of that whiteboard. So this is super, super cool. If you want to get access to the workflow we built today, along with hundreds of other people who are interested in building and selling AI automations, check the link in the description. And if you want to see how I create UGC videos completely on autopilot, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there.